Lara from Love on a Plate. Today I'm going to show you how I make glazed onions, pearl onions, for my Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. It's not necessarily a traditional dish, but we really like to have something that's a little bit savory, just to add to all the richness of the meal. It's not a complicated dish. The thing that's the most time consuming is getting the peel off of those little pearl onions, and I'll talk about that in a sec, or you can buy them frozen already peeled if you can find them. So I'm going to start by putting 1/4 pound of butter into my skillet. And what I did with these onions is you just take boiling water and you pour it over the onions in a bowl, and you just let it sit for a couple of minutes until you can handle them, and then it sort of helps to for the peels to come off a little bit more easily. It doesn't really cook the onions. These are still really hard. So that's why we're going to sort of braise these in a combination of butter, brown sugar, a little bit of stock so they get soft, some apple cider, and then some traditional holiday seasonings like thyme and maybe a little bit of rosemary. So this will come to a simmer here. No, it won't. This will melt. And I'm just going to put the onions in there already. So you don't need a lot. They're so cute though. And these were fresh from the farmer's market. And I'll tell the truth, my aunt lovingly and painstakingly peeled each one of these by hand, because she's patient like that. So you want the butter to melt. Like I said, I'm going to put some thyme, and I'm using fresh thyme, and super simple to get the leaves off. You just pull down on the stalk. So you go like it grows this way, so you want to pull it against the stem. And then all the little leaves come off. You don't really need to chop it or anything. And I grow this in my front yard. I grow all my basic herbs. Then I don't have to buy those big, huge packs. Just going to turn the heat up here a little bit. So I find when I buy those big, huge bundles of herbs, I use like 1/4 of them, and then I end up throwing the rest away. So it's nice to be able to go out in the front yard and just grab what I need. Even this late in the year, in Canada where it's cold, these stay good. So I've got the thyme, and just gonna put a couple of, actually just gonna stick that rosemary in there, and it's gonna flavor it, but rosemary really does need to be chopped. So that flavor is just going to infuse into the butter and then into the onions. And we are going to let that simmer. You actually want this to simmer for a little while. You want the onions to get some color on them. Look how pretty that is. And it smells so good. My kitchen smells amazing. I'm going to put some stock, and that's what's going to help them cook, but we're cooking it at a fairly high temperature, so the stock will reduce and get kind of thick. We'll add the brown sugar once it's reduced, and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, so that it gets a little bit of sweet and a little bit of tang. So we're going to let that simmer for about 10 minutes, and then come back and show you what we do next. Okay, so Lara here from Love on a Plate, and we're back. My pearl onions have been simmering in that mixture of butter, chicken broth, a little bit of fresh thyme, and a sprig of rosemary, which I will remove. So that's the salty and savory part. Now we're going to add the sweet part. Some brown sugar. And the onions are cooked now, mostly soft, and you can see they have a few little brown bits on them, which is what we were looking for. And then this brown sugar is going to melt, and we're going to add a splash of apple cider vinegar. We're going to turn this heat down because I don't want to burn it. And we're going to let these cook slowly until they're really nice and glazed. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. Doesn't need any salt because the salt from the chicken stock took care of that. There's some pepper. So sweet and savory, and a little bit less rich than the rest of the meal. The other thing we're going to add for our side to the Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner is, of course, fresh cranberries. I like to make mine with orange juice, but my mother hates orange in anything except oranges. So I actually have a recipe that makes the cranberry sauce with thyme and a little bit of lemon juice. So I'm going to do that because, well, hey, it's the holidays and we should be nice to our parents. So this is going to sit and simmer, like I said, for a little while, just until it thickens up, and you'll see it'll start to coat the brown sugar mixture will start to coat the onions as it reduces. And then I'm going to just pour it into a small dish because you want these served warm. This is an oven-proof little stoneware. And again, I will put that into the oven with all of my other sides. So basically, I've prepped ahead everything, and everything will go into the oven when the turkey comes out. So I'm lucky. I have a big oven and a little oven, but if you only have one oven, you can do all of these dishes earlier in the day while your turkey's cooking. When you take your turkey out, you want to let him rest about 20 or 30 minutes anyway, so all his juices are not going to fall out of him. And you can pop all of your side dishes into your oven at that point. Take everything out. Everything's hot and delicious. So this is looking pretty good now. You can see it's kind of bubbled up and caramelized. Watch your hands. It is super hot. And whoop, because of all that brown sugar in there, I want to spray this dish. And then I'm going to turn that off and pour this in. You don't need a lot of this. And so that is our brown sugar glazed pearl onions. I'll cover that one with foil and bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes to get it reheated. That's it. Last thing up, we're going to make some cranberry sauce. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.